Tigers win. Very good performance tonight by your baseball Tigers. Luke Holman getting back on track, only gives up the one hit, that being the home run by Ty Evans, who, by the way, if you don't remember Ty Evans, you should, because he absolutely killed us. He absolutely killed everybody in Omaha last year. He was the one that hit that long ball, really a fly ball that got up into the wind and went out, the only run that he would allow. But absolutely electric, 13 big-time strikeouts tonight for Luke Holman. And look, against a really, really, really good lineup. Guys, you literally, all three of the guys, if you didn't notice, 1, 2, 3, and 4 were number one hitting above 300, but 3 of the 4 were hitting above 350 coming into the game. So you have a guy in Luke Holman, your ace, shutting down the Florida Gators, and now you've taken 3 of the last 4 from the Florida Gators. But the series is clearly not over. We got lots to discuss here tonight. We'll break down the game, things that we saw, things that we liked. Maybe at the end we'll preview or talk a little bit about football. We will be out there for the full practice tomorrow, so we'll touch on that. And the ladies basketball team. By the way, everybody's bracket is broken in March Madness. If you want to ask Blake there at the end, is your bracket still alive? We may touch on it at the end there too, after we talk about a lot of baseball here. Want to mention every postgame show is brought to you by our good friends over at BetOnline. Guys, they are rocking and rolling over there right now at betonline.ag. You have a chance to win $50,000. They got so many play-ins that you can do during March Madness. You need to go over there. Use that promo code BELIEVE50. That's BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50. You'll get a 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, where the game starts. Where we're going to start here tonight is got to be, and clearly has to be, Luke Holman. A career high, at least with LSU, but a career high anyway. 13 strikeouts tonight from Holman. It's not as if that he did not have adversity tonight, because he did. You know, you go all the way to the beginning of the game, and I thought, look, worked out of some things. He gives up or has a hit by pitch on Caglione, but he does strike out the side. But most of those counts went into a 2-2, 3-2 count. He goes into the top of the second. He gives up back-to-back walks, but did strike out the first guy in Ty Evans, who would later hit the home run on him. But he's got runners on second and third, 1 out. Okay? You had a wild pitch and a stolen base. They got a runner to third, 1 out. And then you have a walk and then a stolen base. You got 2 ducks on the pond with 1 out. Critical time here, especially after coming out of the bottom of the first when you score 2 runs. Paxton Kling striking out with the bases loaded there too. Would come back up, though, and get a massive sack RBI. I will make fun of myself about that later on in the show. But runners on second and third. He gets back-to-back strikeouts, his 5th and 6th K. So strikeouts the side in both innings. He comes into the third with a 1-2-3, getting 2 Ks there as well. Also, coming into the fourth, he leads off with a home run. Okay, Ty Evans comes up, leads off with a home run, but Shelnut, Thomas, and Garrison, all 3 of them are out in order. He would rally his 10th K there as well. He comes into the 5th, and he goes into the 6th. Guys, he was electric. In the 5th, he goes 1-2-3, getting a pop-up, a strikeout, and Caglione hitting it to the warning track. And then Heyman, Shelton, and Evans, 2 of those, Heyman and Shelton striking out for the 12th and 13th K. And then getting that backhand, that really, really smooth backhand from Tommy Tanks in that 5-3. This is exactly what you needed to see from Luke Holman. Last Friday night, first time that this team has gone up and obviously been in SEC play, Holman didn't look fantastic. Kind of got rocked around a little bit. gives up 5 runs. Only 2 of those were earned, but got touched up a little bit. Tonight, what you wanted to see, guys, especially in that order 1 through 5. Did y'all hear Ben McDonald tonight too? Didn't he say that like 60 home runs from last year's team is on this year's team? Now, Caglione brings a lot of that, but you have that with Tanks too. So literally having 3 guys in the top 4 hitting above 350 coming into the night. Guys, you had 2 of those that would strike out 4 times. That's just insane. That just shows how good you were tonight. But you definitely wanted to see Holman come back and respond. You wanted to see him respond in a way where not going to be rattled. He's going to be able to mentally flush it, come back and perform. And that's exactly what he did. Exactly what he did. I'm at all with this kid sometimes, man. Like, really. I mean, even the home run that he gave up to Wright. I mean, it is what it is. Those kinds of things are going to happen. Evans put a really good swing on it. I mean, guys, you literally, again, saw him in Omaha do that, just demolish the baseball all last postseason. He looked really good. Tonight, you go into a situation where morale seemed during the week maybe a little bit down from fans, or man, you got a tough series. You got Florida, you got Arkansas, Tennessee. That's going to be tough, and it is going to be. I mean, Mississippi State, if I'm not mistaken, won tonight. I was trying to keep up with that game, but just couldn't with everything going on. They don't look like a bad team, but he responded. He's one of the best guys on the mound on a Friday night in the SEC. I somewhat agree with KP, because if you listen to Kyle Peterson tonight, he goes, I just don't know if we have the arms like we did on Friday nights, like we did a year ago. I'm going to push back just a little bit. I think Tennessee's got a guy. I think clearly Arkansas has a dude, and I think you do too. Maybe because it's not 97, 98 to 100 that you maybe saw from Paul Skeens. Yeah, you're not going to have that. Chase Dolander's not there, but Chase Dolander got rocked around last year. I know that Chase Burns left Tennessee and went to Wake Forest. He's doing okay, but you do have some top end arms in the SEC. Next week's series is going to be crucial too. Holman just looks so damn good tonight, and it gives you a lot of confidence that, look, man, even if he has a bad performance, he's going to be able to come back and respond. And he comes back and respond at home. He gets a career number in strikeouts. He looked absolutely fantastic. So, I mean, guys, just absolutely fantastic performance. Absolutely fantastic performance. You got to give it to them. Let's continue, or give it to him. Let's continue pitching. So after 6 innings of work for Holman with the 13 Ks, I was wrong this week. I actually was wrong a couple times this week. Griffin Herring comes in after Luke Holman. I did think it was going to be Ackenhausen, but I gave really wasn't wrong. I gave a preface. My preface is if it's the 7th inning and you mean to make a change, I don't think it's going to be Ackenhausen. But Griffin Herring, I did not think would be able to close the show out. Boy, did he do that. I was kind of, a little worried about it. But he leads off, okay, with what should have been a hit by pitch. Look, guys, I know that some of you are like, oh, well, Blake, you got to lean, the right calls for LSU. In the top of the 7th, that kid got hit in the foot. The Florida kid got hit in the foot. What was his name? Shellnut. So, look, I'm all about what's right is right, what's wrong is wrong. The kid should have been awarded first base. But doesn't matter. Herring gets the put out to himself on the little dribbler back to himself and gets his first out. Gives up a walk, a fly out, and then a ground out. Would come back into the 8th. This was crucial, okay? The 8th inning, Griffin Herring struck out the side. All of them swinging. The kid was electric tonight. The kid was highly electric tonight. That 8th inning was I will make the argument. I don't remember a better Griffin Herring outing, and especially in any pitch than the 8th. And clearly you can't do any better than striking out the side. But he gets Curlin. This is the thing. He gets 1, 2, and 3 to strike out. Now those guys in the top of the lineup for Florida really struggled. You had 8 Ks, okay, between 1 and 3. But he gets Curlin, Kaggs, and Heyman to strike out. So you go to the top of the order in the 8th where Florida needs to get some things going and get some runs. They're unable to do that, and he strikes out the side. And then he comes into the ninth, gives up the single to Evans, the one that Milam tried to backhand, and Jones was off the bag. Then he gives up a double. So you got runners on second and third. You got Gavin Guidry in the pen. Can Herring get out of it? And he did. He did. I mean, he gets the really hot shot, grounder back up the middle that hits off his foot. Why the runner for third or at third for Florida doesn't go home is absolutely astonishing to me, which then gets the runner at second caught up in a pickle, and then that's how you end the game. So he gets the out at first, and then you get the runner in a pickle, and that ends the game. Overall, great performance on the mound. You can't – guys, anytime you only allow one run against a team like that, not only is it a great performance, guys, it's just overall fantastic. You got to cherish moments and cherish games where you're able to just lock down a team that can hit like that. And you only using 2 guys tonight, Holman and Herring. Now you got a full array of dudes you can go to after Gage jump. Now, here's another question. How does Gage jump respond tomorrow night against Florida? So, look, you get a crucial game 1, okay, a very pivotal game that you needed to start off on the right track. Get yourself back to 500 in the league. I know you only played 4 games, but you get an ultimate big-time game 1. Can you close out this series and get the series win by winning tomorrow? Can you get this? I don't know if you can get the same type of pitching performance, because that is just – that's asking for something absolutely ridiculous. But can you get good performances from your guys on the mound? Guys, if they can't score, clearly they can't – I mean, it's the old adage. What would you rather, a team that can mash or a team that can pitch? When you got a really good team that can throw it, I mean, it's just it can be such a game changer. All right, let's go to LSU at the plate. Look, first, I got to start here. Ethan Fry got hurt a couple of weeks ago, and the question was, number one, when he comes back, can he stay on the little hot streak that he had? He had a big hit against Southeastern, ultimately that led you to a win. He had really started seeing the ball well. He had 2 hits in that game. Then he came and pitch hit or had a pitch hit performance. The game before got a stand-up double, and it looked pretty good. Guys, I thought tonight Ethan Fry has to kind of somewhat be your story. Now, probably should have had a double and an RBI double at that. Travinsky didn't know if the ball was going to be caught when Fry hits that single, I believe, to right center field in inning number, let me see what inning that was. Yeah, it's going to be in the 6th. So in the 6th, he comes up and gets that single off the right center field wall. That's got to be a run, but I understand what Travinsky did there. But had a great night. He got an RBI in the first, okay, a screaming hot shot in the left field in between the 5 and 6 hole. That would score a run. That would get you your second run, because Pearson, who also, guys, is hovering around 300 right now, led off the scoring outbreak with an RBI single, basically in the same exact spot in the top of the first. Look, you went a little bit cold after getting those 2 runs. Okay, in the first, you get the 2 big-time RBIs, but you come back in the bottom of the second, you go 1, 2, 3. In the bottom of the third, you go 1, 2, 3. In the bottom of the fourth, you get 1 double by Braswell. But other than that, you got a weak ground ball to the second baseman, and then Kling would strike out looking. So, look, you go through 3 innings there after getting 2 crucial runs and only have a hit. Yeah, it's an extra base hit, but when you have less than 2 outs and you get a double in the left field, and Braswell standing on second, you got to get him in. You go into the 5th, okay? You go 1, 2, 3 again. Bingham, Tanks, and Jones all saw 9 pitches in that inning. But it was the bottom of the 6th that was the game changer. You got Travinsky's double in the left down the left field line. Pearson gets hit by a pitch. Fry the single off the right field wall, or right center field wall. Braswell would walk that would give him an RBI. There was a pitching change. Slater came in for that RBI sac fly for Paxton Kling. Let me stop right there for a second. I tweeted this like an idiot. And every time, dude, every single time I do this, even if the logic behind it is spot on. So you had bases loaded, no outs. Okay. And I tweeted, should Neal, now that you have a right-handed pitcher in the game, should Neal pitch hit for Paxton Kling? I said no. Or I said yes. Put Bingham into center, put Neal into right. And Paxton Kling on a hanging slider almost had a grand slam. So every time that happens to me, every time. Maybe I should say that, hey, man, I don't know what I should say to make LSU win tomorrow. It's kind of gotta come to me a little bit here. But a big RBI there by Kling. So you get an RBI single by Bingham there too that starts opening up the scoring, makes you feel a little bit comfortable. So the 6th inning, obviously massive there for you to start expanding that lead. So didn't really do anything else at the plate. Okay, you got a single in the 7th. In the 8th, you got an RBI double by Bingham. They awarded him the double, the ground ball that he hit to the right side that Cags couldn't get to. And then, obviously, you didn't bat in the night. So, overall, great performance. All right. Let's get to some of your questions. You have questions. This is what you can do. We're going to start doing this again. So, this is what we did last year. We're going to do it again. If you 100% want your comment read, go to YouTube, send in a super chat. I get so many people get mad at me when we read these comments. Blake, you didn't read my comment. Guys, we got like 700 of them. Guys, how many comments do we have in the chat? Producers behind the scenes. 207. Okay. Yeah, I can't go through all of them. So if you want your comment read, send in a super chat on YouTube, and we will try to get to them all. Lucas Aber, like this right here, sends a $2 super chat, says that's a good win for LSU baseball. Go Tigers. It's a really good win. Man, it's a fantastic win. And it sets you up for obviously winning the series. You always want to get game 1. I think the thing for me is that I was a little bit wanting to see was obviously how does Luke Holman respond? How do you look at the plate? Now, Fisher, the starter for Florida, had a sub-7 ERA, had not looked great all year. He's going to be a good pitcher, just hasn't found the zone, okay? But you took care of business. Do I want you to score more runs? Do I think, ultimately you're going to need to put some more timely hits together? Yes. So for example, winning covers a multitude of sins. This is almost exactly what happened to you last Friday night. Just throwing that out there. Almost the same exact thing at the plate happened to you to some extent. Okay, not completely, but to some extent did. But winning, you feel better about this game because winning covers all the sins. You didn't lose. The morale's up. But, I mean, there comes a point where you got to ask yourself, like, for example, and you're facing a Friday night guy who's really good, man. Screw that sub-7 ERA. Like, he's got really real quality stuff. But like in the second, you go 1, 2, 3. In the third, you go 1, 2, 3. In the fourth, you don't go 1, 2, 3 because Braswell's got a double, but you only have 4 batters coming up at there. You get 2 dribblers, okay? 2 really, I guess Milam's wasn't like a dribbler, okay? I mean, he hit the ball hard the second, but Kling goes down looking. By the way, had a 3-1 count. Like, that cannot happen. Bottom of the fifth, you go 1, 2, 3. In the top of your order, Bingham, Tanks, and Jones. Okay. It's the sixth where you look good. I mean, you had 3 innings where you didn't look good. But with this team, man, then you go into the sixth. Travinsky gets a leadoff double. Hitting is contagious. And it was what it was. Great performance tonight. I wonder if these two guys are related, but we got some couillons in here, boy. We got Lucas Hebert sending in a super chat and Chase Hebert sending in a super chat. We got some couillons in here now. Chase says, I was at the game, Blake. Wow, what a place to be. And watching Luke go off, man, the house went off and I was involved. Thank you, Chase and Lucas. They got to be cousins somewhere down the line. Look, man. Well, first off, thank you, Chase, for the $4.99 super chat. I will tell you, there's no better place in college baseball than when it is rocking and then Alex Box Stadium. There legitimately isn't. And in a big game like this. And I'm glad it was the sixth biggest attendance. Guys, isn't that what Tom said? 6th? Yeah, 6th biggest performance or crowd, excuse me, tonight in Alex Box Stadium. I mean, how many times have you packed that place out? So that's pretty awesome. I will say this, looking into Florida really quickly. Look, man, they just did not look good at the plate. I mean, you stifled them. I mean, 14 or 15 of your 27 outs, guys, they went down swinging and looking. And if you're going to continue to do that and they're going to struggle this weekend, I hope so. I sure as hell hope so. But you got a big game tomorrow, pivotal game tomorrow. You really, really, really need to win tomorrow because you got Thatcher Hurd going on Sunday. Caglione, okay, has a 1.77 ERA. He's second in their team in strikeouts. He has looked somewhat pretty good this year on the mound. You don't want to really play with that. You don't want a series win with a guy who pitched in the last game, all right, in the national championship game so long ago. You don't want him to kind of get any revenge. I will tell you, I held my breath a little bit. That fly ball he hit to center field, I was like, oh, shit. When it came off the bat, I would love to know that exit velo. That kid's going to play baseball for a very, very, very long time. He's so good, man. He's so freaking good. So we'll see. All right, yes, you can send in your super chats if you want 100% accuracy on your comment being read. Send us a super chat if you're on YouTube. Paul Saul Martin says, I'll give 3 better Herring outings just from the last year. Regular season against Tennessee and Ole Miss, and the 4 1/3 against Wake. It's a good point. Thank you, Paul Sub, for making sure that I do not. I am not. What's the word? What's the word here? I'm living in the now, I guess you could say. Yeah, 4 1/3 innings against Wake Forest. That's pretty dominant. Pete says that Holman was dominant. Yeah, man. I mean, look, he's going to continue to do that. And the best thing that you saw tonight, even bigger than the win, to some degree, is that you can have a guy that can respond like that after having a bad performance. I really don't know. I'm going to give a take. It's going to be a really hot one. Luke Holman to me seems he's got that Joe Burrow-esque demeanor with him. Let me explain. Burrow would be the dude, okay, that you have no idea what his emotions are unless he shows them. That dude shows no emotion. Jay comes up to the mound. You can read Holman's lips. He's like, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. You wouldn't know. That kid's blue steel, man. Blue steel. You're not Joe Cool, more like Luke Cool. More like Luke Cool. Such a great performance tonight. And then Pete says that softball struggled as well. Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. Trey Patton says, great win for the boys tonight. The girls have lost 3 straight. Got to regroup. Yeah, it's not been good. It's not been good. David says the pitching was excellent. Just limit the walks, and you did. Stay hydrated, and you'll be fine. The mental part of the game is just as important as the physical play. They played great. Yeah, I mean, you got to admit, man. You got to admit. The kid's just outright filthy. The kid is outright filthy. I'm really excited about Gage Jump tomorrow. I'm really excited about maybe can you get some just more timely hits. Actually, just get some hits in some innings. You're so streaky sometimes, and that's baseball. You know that 1,000% is baseball. So, oh man, you gotta love my hashtag too during the game. Always bunt to try to get that extra run. Yes, indeed. Todd Davis says, amazing that Ethan Fry shows bunt twice, then hits that one to right center. That's something. Look, it kind of drives me crazy a little bit, but look, man, when you start, and I don't know if bunting is nitpicky. I don't like the fake bunt pullback. I just think there's so many bad things that can happen there. It's a Jay Johnson special. He doesn't give a shit who it is. The only person that he will never probably do that to is Tommy Tanks, at least in this alignment. Maybe Bear Jones. I don't know. But just to get to a new guy coming out of the pen to throw a strike. And look, tonight for me is Ethan Fry. From at the plate. You can take away Travinsky. I think Pearson's another one you can take away from. He got that big RBI early in the game and in the first inning to get you started and get you rolling. I thought Braswell didn't look bad either. Braswell took a walk in RBI. He doubled in the left. Let's see what Braswell's night was. Okay, so Braswell walked in the first. Then he doubled in the fourth. In the sixth, he had an RBI walk. And then he grounded to second base. So even him, he hadn't looked bad. He didn't look bad tonight either. You know who else had a pretty big performance, I thought, at the plate too? And it doesn't look that way because it's not like he's hitting live drives in the outfield or into the gap. Bingham had runners on, had 2 crucial RBIs tonight. So Fry, Braswell, and Bingham. But it's got to go to Fry because, look, man, can he solidify one of those outfield spots for you? Can it be Pearson, Kling, and Fry? Can you DH him? Can you put Neal out there? How you maneuver the lineup is so, Jay's still figuring that out. And the kid's going to continue to hit. I will tell you this: you got to have the most stocky team in the country. Name dudes bigger than Ethan Fry, Bear Jones, Tommy Tanks, and Travinsky. And then you got the smallest dudes on the planet, Stephen Milam and Pearson. There's no in between. You don't have a team of just guys 6 foot to 6'2". You got mammoths at 6'5", and then you got Stephen Milam. He listed at 5'8". But let me tell you something, man. If Stephen Milam's 5'8", then I got a six-pack, which, by the way, got to admit, still on the carnivore, it's been electric, man. It's been electric. Maybe I should be documenting the workouts and the carnivore and the weight loss stuff. Probably make me a millionaire. Justin said, oh, okay. He says, I said it sucks to be a Florida Gator. It sucks to be a Florida Gator. It does. It does. Look, man, you took 3 of the last 4 from him. You took 3 of the last 4. Trey Patan says, Kling, since a $4.99 super chat, says, Kling has to be your everyday center fielder, but, man, he's pressing way too much. Offense will get better, but you got to trust Jay. Thank you, Trey, for the $4.99 super chat. Here's what I'll say. And I said this earlier and even tweeted this out. When Kling came up in the 6th with the bases loaded and no outs, I really, really, really thought that Jay was going to go to Neal. Neal would go to right. Bingham would go to center. That's what I thought he'd do, because then you had a guy coming out of the bullpen, a right-handed guy. The reason Neal's not in the lineup tonight, for what we would believe, is because the lefty was on the mound to start, and Kling has been struggling. But he stayed with him. And I tweeted that out, like, hey, are we going to get a pitch hit for Kling here for Neal? He gets a hanging slider. Maybe if the wind's not blowing in tonight the way that it was, maybe that's a grand slam. But you're keeping him in there for defensive purposes, and I understand it. I understand it, and I don't hate it. Like, guys, anytime you have a position up the middle, whether it be 2, 4, 6, or 8, meaning 2 being your catcher, 4 being second, 6 being short, 8 being center field. Anytime you go up the middle and you have somebody in there for defensive purposes, I'm not going to get on to you. But if a guy like for example, and people will say, well, Blake, what about Malazzo catching behind the plate? Well, it's different because Travinski's not been bad catching behind the plate. Neither has Neal. And both of those guys are hitting. So you're not going to put in Malazzo if they're going to give you that type of at-bats, especially from Travinski, who led off the stuff in the 6th with that leadoff double. So about Paxton Kling, I will just continue to say, I will just continue to say that I do feel like he's pressing. Me personally, again, guys, Jay Johnson, from a baseball aspect, 20 billion times more smarter than I am. But I'm just going to give an opinion. I can be dead wrong in my opinion. I don't like the open stance for Paxton Kling. Actually, I got to be honest with you. I loathe it. Everything, man, it just feels like when he's out, when he has the open stance and he's coming in to swing, okay, it just feels like his momentum is taking him everywhere when he comes in. I'd rather him just, even if he doesn't even stride, okay, and I know this sounds just absolutely stupid, but be set, choke up, put the ball in play. I'm dead serious. His speed might get him out of a lot of situations. Again, just saying this for my own benefit, because I know how some of you are in the stupid chat, even though I love to chat. We bring up the chat more than anybody in any show. I just think, to preface this, Jay is 20 billion times smarter than I ever will be. He's forgotten more baseball than I will ever know. I just don't like the open stance for Kling. I really don't. I really, really don't. So, Trey, I agree with you. I'm with you there. I can't do it. I can't do it. Dwayne D says, at Blake, man, I've been on the carnivore diet for about 7 months, transformed everything in no time flat. Blood work is spotless. For those negative Nancy's out there, it works. Yeah, my wife would kind of, my wife has been kind of nervous, because let me just share a personal little testimony with you. So I'm trying to lose significant. I say significant. I'm trying to go on this. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But and by the way, I got stupid plantar fasciitis, and it hurts like shit. So because I started working out and I went way too hard. Pause. But should not have worked out as hard as I did going back in the gym for week 1 like an idiot. I started the carnivore. It's been fantastic for anybody that wants to try it. What carnivore is, all meat, no veggies. What I have been doing has been the eating a lot of ribeyes, bacon, grilled a lot of chicken. Problem with chicken is that sometimes, man, it can be just so freaking dry. So yeah, that's just a small personal testimony. I hope it works out for me. Pray for me, man. Root me on if you want to. Please, Jesus. Need to lose some. Okay? Even though your boy's got to lose some. So pray for your boy. Fred says it was a grand slam at Lindsey Nelson. Matter of fact, we would have to hit about 4, or we would have hit about 4 tonight at that softball park. Yeah, fair, but you don't play there. I'm with you, Fred, but you don't play there. Cortland Jacob says if would probably be a home run in 95% of parks and might have been later in the season out of the box. I'll agree with you on one thing because I hate to I don't hate. You're just not going to be in another park. So even having that conversation is like, well, guys, if he's at home, it still doesn't it still doesn't stop the strikeouts. It still doesn't stop the weak ground balls, even though it would have been out and we would have had a different perception. I have no different perception of that. Okay. And I'm making fun of myself here. If he would have hit a grand slam, it would have been fantastic. Even though he didn't, doesn't change my thought process. He got a hold of a hanging slider that could have went out. You're going to have to let him continue. By the way, just so we're all on the same page here too, I am not telling you to pull him. I've never once come on the show and said to pull him. Not once. I just said I don't like what he's doing at the plate, personally. That's a personal thing. Dwayne D says, extra butter, big guy. It works. Fingers crossed and prayers. You get what you want. You got that. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's been great. Like, guys, today, here's the truth. Here's the God's honest truth. I ate a sausage link and cut it up. Okay. My big ass at 1:00. Tonight, I had a 14-ounce ribeye. Okay. And I haven't eaten anything else. It has been quite honestly, and it's not like I don't have energy. I feel like I have more energy. It's been freaking fantastic. Todd said, Blake, I had plantar fasciitis. Just stretch it and wear those things they sell for your shoes. It will be gone soon. Yeah, man. Freaking hurts like a mother. Freaking hurts like a mother. Let me tell you what I did. Y'all want to make fun of my ass? Let me tell y'all something. You can make fun of me. I listen when I work out to the Rocky IV soundtrack. Okay, I know, stereotypical BS. Italian listen to Rocky, but it's not really the soundtrack I listen to. I listen to it's called War, WAR, on the Rocky soundtrack, and it's when Rocky is fighting the Russian, and every time he goes to the corner, Apollo's trainer is telling him, no pain, no pain. And when it started hurting, I just kept running and was like, no pain, no pain. And it hurts like a son of a bitch. God, it hurts like a son of a bitch. Like, dude, I can't take my shoes off. If I take my shoes off and I go barefoot, which I always work barefoot everywhere. My wife thinks I'm crazy. Man, fucking hurts, dude. Fucking hurts. Anthony B. Saint says Holman absolutely shoved tonight, no doubt, 1,000%. Cortland Jacobs says when a fly ball out makes people feel good about your plate appearances, that says something. Yeah, I agree with that. And look, I don't want to continue to get on Kling here, okay? But it does. It really does. And look, any run that you get, any manufactured run, I'm not going to be mad at. I'm just saying, like, he got a hanging slider. He did what he needed to do. Ball could have gotten out. Maybe later on in the year it does. It's just he does not look comfortable up there. He just doesn't. Like, he really, really, really doesn't. So it stinks. It really stinks. It really does. So tomorrow, look, I mean, tomorrow you got Liam Peterson for Florida on the mound and Gage Jump for LSU. Peterson has got a 1-2 record, has a 7.50 ERA, 18.1, 8 1/3 innings pitch, 22 strikeouts. Batter's hitting 229 off of him. He's given up a lot of walks. He just, man, people have gotten really timely hits off of him. 7.50 ERA is who you'll see tomorrow in Gage Jump. Look, you got two guys that have sub 7 ERAs. I'm sure the box will be packed out tomorrow night as well. I hope it is. I hope you can get the win. And then you got Caglione. You'll face Caglione on Sunday. Hurd will go up against him. I don't know if this isn't Hurd's last attempt before you do something. Going to be interesting to see what they do with Cade Anderson. I'm really intrigued to see what they do with him. We didn't see him in the midweek, at all this week. So who's he going to come after? I tell you, if Hurd struggles early on Sunday, I would not hesitate to pull his ass. I wouldn't hesitate. Not even close. S. Young, I'm assuming this is Stephen Young, says if Tommy had gotten that hanging slider that Kling got, it might have cleared the Intimidator. Yeah. Might have. He broke his streak tonight of home runs. Darren says Kling is only one batter. I'm okay with laying down bunts. Yeah, I mean, look, you're going to have to – that's why I'm saying, like, build his confidence up. And maybe that swing tonight does build his confidence up. I don't want to make this the Paxton Kling show, but I mean, man, it just, who would you put there for him? I mean, I'm even having the argument in my head, and I don't think there's anybody you put in for him. I mean, maybe Jake Brown, but I can't go there. I can't go there. So it is what it is. It is what it is. We can talk about the women's game tonight. Anthony B. Saint says, Blake, what is your thoughts about the women's basketball's performance today? Thank you for bringing that up. We need to talk about that. And we'll talk about some other things. So we'll probably see you tomorrow night as well. I think. So, because we got a practice report we need to do. We got a post game that we need to talk about. So tomorrow's post game show will be pretty good. This is actually episode 897, guys. What is it? We don't label these. Which one is it? Okay, hold on. Let me look. Yeah. No, 898. Okay, 898. Women's basketball. Look, I thought the Lady Tigers came out a little bit sloppy tonight against Rice. Haley Van Lith was a little snippy in the postgame. Did y'all hear her? Hey, your old team lost. What do you think about not being able to face them? I don't care about that. It is what it is. I don't care about that. Oh, shit. Okay. Sloppy overall performance. I thought Kim mentioned it, and we need to talk about the Kim Mulkey thing with Pat 40. I thought Kim summarized it well, and she didn't really say this. Maybe she did kind of say this in in so many words. Just a lot of selfish basketball tonight. You got Middle Tennessee Sunday. I do wonder if you're knocking off a little bit of rust. You know that this was, something they talked about last year. That the kind of the same thing that happened in the Miami game. Yeah, that's true. I'm just not. I'm not going to worry about it. And Kim even mentioned that too. Okay, you're not satisfied with the win, but you are satisfied with the win, or you have gratitude for the win because the wins in the tournament. Man, look at what the SEC is doing right now, even in men's. I mean, you got to cherish those wins. Just overall sloppy. I thought they played really somewhat selfish today. Very sloppy. The turnovers were abysmal. Completely abysmal were the turnovers. Just everybody trying to make it about them. And I got to be real with you. That is sometimes a concern when you bring in a team that hasn't played together like that. Now, last year bowed out well for you. But I'm not worried about them. I think they win on Sunday and continue to make a push. So we'll see, man. We'll see. I just thought overall sloppy. I thought that there were times where they looked good. Haley Van Lith hit a couple of threes. I thought Michaela Williams had some really good shots. Angel was just off, which kind of, when she's off, kind of makes the whole team sometimes look off, but she did have, close to 20 rebounds. So it's not that she's not out there trying to do her best, but even she tried to shoot a mid-range. She was off. Just overall, not great performance. I did think a little bit the focus and hustle wasn't there. I mean, you still won. I don't know what else to say. And once you get in the tournament, you get everybody's best shot. You are still technically the reigning defending national champion. So everybody's going to get their bet. You're going to get everybody's best shot. Just hope that Middle Tennessee is a team that you're able to put it together against and get to the next round. About this Kim Mulkey thing that Pat 40 came out. Guys, I will admit, I don't know necessarily. I have my speculations. I have heard some things about what this Kim Mulkey story is going to be. Let me start here. In case you missed it, Pat 40 of Yahoo Sports came out with something that said that he heard that the Wall Street Journal was coming out with a hit piece on Kim Mulkey. Let me start with Pat 40. Number one, here we go again. I don't know necessarily the issue that Pat 40 has with LSU, and I do question, okay, why is Pat 40 coming out here talking about a hit piece about Kim Mulkey about when another publication is going to write it? I don't really want to speculate at the current moment. I kind of want to let this hit piece by the Washington Post come out, whatever it is. I have my opinions already formulating in my head, okay? But let's wait and see what it is, because I don't want to come out and say, well, Kim didn't do this when we have no idea what they're going to say, which leads me to my second point. Don't take this as a political statement, because it's not a political statement. It's a factual statement, because you can go and research this yourself if you would like. The Washington Post is arguably one of, if not the biggest, fabricating news outlets in not just America, in the world. They are constantly writing stories that either, number one, has to be redacted, number two, that are just blatant, flat out lies, or number three, or stretches of the imagination to make a one political party lean look better than the other. I remember when the Washington Post, when the leader of a terrorist organization was killed, they would refuse to call him a terrorist. Said, how do we know? Okay. With all of that being said, I don't believe a damn thing that the Washington Post puts out until I hear it for myself and I start digging into it. That is the stance that we're going to take on the show. That is the stance that we're going to look at it moving forward. I will tell you, when Kim comes to a microphone and says the things that she says, guys, if she's going to say that at a press conference, what do you think happens behind closed doors? I'm not saying Kim Mulkey is in the wrong at all on anything that she's done. I will just remind you that there has been some bumps in the road. Not all her doing. Right? Like, not all of her doing. I'm going to be limited in what I say about Pat Forty. I think that I have talked about it on social media enough, and it is what it is. I will just continue to say that this has been multiple times that he has come out, and regardless to whatever men's or women's basketball, and said something negative towards them. I will also remind everybody, this is just something that is factual. I'm just reminding you, okay? When the NCAA investigated Will Wade, and even when Will Wade went to court, this is even the bigger one. When Will Wade went to court, a federal judge used the Pat Forty story and said majority of what Pat Forty had wrote was not only not credible, it was likely unsourced and fabricated. So I will tell you, we have had Pat Forty once reporting a story that ultimately in a federal court system said, and I'm quoting here, was looked at as non-credible. Again, not something I'm giving an opinion on. That is an actual fact of something that happened. That is just the stance that I'm going to take. When it comes to LSU, I do my own sourcing. I don't trust big publications. And to be honest with you, I'm going to also remind you of this. When the Sharon Lewis case came out, we must have talked about that case in 100 episodes. Have to have. As much as we discussed it. Maybe not 100, maybe 50. I told you that publications like the Washington Post, you can throw in Fox News and CNN, and the USA Today, quite honestly, are the biggest publications for retractions. Why is that? It's because the people that they have working for them, it's not necessarily a business sometimes. You can do a really good story, even a political story, that's really good on either side of the aisle if you have really good sourcing and you're true to what you're saying. But they have fabricated, the Washington Post, so much shit. Like, let me do it like this. Give me a thumbs up if you trust the Washington Post, or thumbs down in the chat if you don't trust the Washington Post. In case you missed it, Pat Forty, actually, I'll just bring it up. Let me just bring up his tweet so that we can read it. I would have assumed that everybody would have already have seen it by now. That is what I get for assuming. Let me pull it up. Hold on. And all he does all day is just tweet about basketball. He's tweeting about the president of Charlie Baker of the NCAA. Oh, well, he's in the house tonight. Looks like he's got himself a pretzel. Literally, let me show y'all this tweet first. Hold on. Let me show y'all this tweet first. This is the kind of guy and suck up that Pat 40 is. Let me show you. Let me show you this. This dude legitimately tweeted out, NCAA president Charlie Baker's in the house for the NCAA, one of the NCAA tournaments. Just got himself a pretzel. Literally nobody gives a shit. Literally nobody gives a shit. If I can ever find this. Did he delete the Kim Mulkey thing? Or did I miss it? Here it is. Per Pat 40, hearing some buzz about a big Washington Post story in the works on LSU women's hoops coach Kim Mulkey, potentially next week, wagons being circled, etc. Why would you even report that if it's not your story? Like I don't get that. That's all that he said. Looks like everybody's putting their thumb down in the chat. I don't trust any of them. Chan says, Blake, did you see Jason Whitlock's take on Mulkey versus Staley? I did, and I saw what he gets, or people are going to call him what they're going to call him. But the bottom line remains for me, he wasn't wrong. And if Kim Mulkey was a man, they wouldn't have said shit about it. Stephen A. wouldn't have said shit about it. With it, I mean, first off, I got to be real with Stephen A.'s got to shave his head. Your hairline can't be back here. Guys, like Stephen A.'s hairline is back here. Like, I'm serious. It starts like literally right here in his head. I mean, what does Stephen A. do when he goes to the barber? Give me a line. He's like, in the middle of your forehead? I mean, my brother's got, he got a receding hairline. I mean, his hairs are running away from his mouth because of how bad his takes are. I'm just serious. Shannon Sharp the same in the sense of he should have been quiet on something that, no, I shouldn't say be quiet. Let me rephrase that, because he doesn't need to be quiet. Anybody can express their opinion. That's not how I meant it. He needs to relook at some facts on this one. You can have whatever stance that you want on Kim Mulkey, and I will tell you, I love Kim more than anybody, but it's the way that people are in the 985. Look, man, I've lived here my whole life. If you think Kim Mulkey is the only one like her, you're around here, you're crazy. You're crazy. I mean, there's multiple. I mean, that's how a lot of women act around here. They're crazy. I married one of them. Not really. She's beautiful. She's sweet. Don't tell her I said that. But quite honestly, it's true. Yes, indeed. You know why podcasts have been so big, man? It's because people don't trust legacy media. Let me end the show with saying this. I think it's funny that in 2020 I got made fun of by legacy radio, around local radio, legacy radio. Let me ask y'all a question. Have y'all noticed? Have y'all noticed that everybody around here locally's now got a podcast? Everybody's got a fucking podcast. Everybody. They weren't doing it. They used to just do the radio shows or cover sports or whatever. Everybody's got a podcast now. Next thing you know, my mom's going to have a podcast. Oh, shit. All right. Let's get out of here. We'll see y'all tomorrow. LSU practice report tomorrow too. We'll bring that into the show, and then we'll probably do another post game, and then make episode 900 when Carter joins us on Monday. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Y'all have a good night. Getting a little late. Let's go. I don't know if there's any more basketball on. I don't know if I'll be watching. We'll see y'all tomorrow, man. Peace.